Sighisoara, Romania. This picturesque Transylvanian town is the birthplace of Vlad Tepes, otherwise known as Vlad the Impaler, or Vlad Dracula. This infamous Romanian prince was known to drink the blood of his enemies and inspired the title of Bram Stoker's 1897 vampire novel, Dracula. In 2014, a tourist visiting a local church came across a painting so strange that she sent a photo of it to the Israeli Extraterrestrials and UFOs Research Organization.
In the hometown of Vlad the Impaler, upon whom the story of Dracula, the vampire, is based, we find the Church of the Dominican Monastery. And in this church is a 700-year-old painting that clearly portrays what most would identify as a circular craft, a UFO hovering over a building that is thought to be the church.
We have this very strange jelly mold-shaped saucer hovering over the ancestral home of the great figure that really has given rise to the idea of Lord Dracula, the vampire. Now, is there a link here in some way with this vampire legend and extraterrestrials?
Is it possible that a 700-year-old painting in a church in Transylvania provides a connection between vampires and aliens? Could it be that the stories of these shape-shifting entities that are said to morph from human form into bats, wolves, and other creatures are based on real encounters? While Bram Stoker's Dracula is a work of fiction, it is inspired by historical events.
In the classic vampire story from Bram Stoker's Dracula of the late 19th century, he did do some research into the Romanian traditions. As I say, they're very complicated, and they tend to differ village from village even. So were there ever such things, paranormally speaking, as vampires? For a time, 15th, 16th, 17th, into the 18th century, in certain parts of the world, vampires did exist.
Gliwice, Poland, 2013. During the construction of a roadway just outside this small town, a shocking discovery is made. Workers unearth a burial ground that provides a gruesome window into the past. It contains 4 skeletons, all decapitated.
Recently in Poland, some graves were found that had unusual characteristics. The remains had the heads removed and placed on the legs. This was evidence of a ritual execution. Some theorists think these might have been suspected vampires.
Archaeologists estimate these burials date back to the 16th century. And according to the traditions that existed in Poland at that time, keeping the head separated from the body would prevent the undead from coming back to life. Similar vampire graves have been found throughout Europe. Some even containing bodies with stakes driven through the hearts.
When we think about vampires, we think of Bram Stoker's Dracula, or indeed Hollywood portrayals of vampires. But for the peoples of Europe, particularly in Eastern Europe, the idea of vampires was a very frightening and very real supernatural phenomena, which was something that they had to guard themselves against, because the vampires were shapeshifters. And the most frightening thing about these was that they had to sustain their existence by drinking the blood of animals or human beings.
While the modern concept of the vampire was informed by European folklore, similar shape-shifting beings with a thirst for blood have been reported throughout the ancient world, like the Rakshasas described in the Sanskrit texts of India.
Hindu scriptures, Rakshasas have special power to change shape. Rakshasa is a flesh-eating demon. That Rakshasa loves to eat flesh.
All across the globe, we have mythology that represents some kind of vampiric type entities. There's the Edimu in the Sumerian text. there's the Jiangxi in China, all these classes of entities that seem to be in some way interested in human blood. But is there a real root to this? Is there some kind of entity that's interested in human blood?
Could these bloodthirsty abominations be more than just fantasy? As far as ancient astronaut theorists are concerned, the centuries-old tales of vampires bear striking similarities to a very modern phenomenon: accounts of alien abduction.
When we talk about vampire experiences, we break them down into there is the sighting, then there is the trapping of one's own mind and the luring of the person into the vampire. But alien abductions are exactly the same way. Abductees report they are transfixed by a light, a figure approaches them, the figure engages with them, and the figure takes them away.
Central to alien abductions is the idea of some sort of medical procedure. Some people say that DNA is taken, but in other cases, blood seems to have been removed. Very often, the person is immobilized in these abduction reports, and yet, when you look at the Vedic texts, the Chinese legends, the European legends, one can draw these links between vampires and UFOs and abductions.